Hey everyone, it's Patrick from Vicious Computers, and with the extended weekend I had hoped to get some time to record one of the many projects and reviews that I'm working on, but it ended up being more of a recovery time for us. My wife was really sick all weekend and it rained like crazy, but I got a chance to work on a couple of things. On Monday I went and I trimmed like a few 100 pounds of oak tree, and that was to hopefully clear up some shade on the roof for the east side of the roof once the solar panels get installed up there. And I installed some aluminum diffusers that go all the way along the perimeter of my bedroom. And I'm going to be installing some new cob LEDs. This is the same technology I used for the battery racks in the garage. So that'll give us brighter, better, more vivid lighting. And it's got the white LED, so we'll have really good white light for seeing what we're doing in our bedroom. So finally, the room lighting woes will be over, but I'm still waiting on some more parts to finish that. So the projects, the reviews, the testing, all that is on hold until next weekend. But I still wanted to get something out, and I figured I would try something new. So to still provide some kind of valuable content this week, I figured we would try something new, and that would be a discussion. Like, we've never done this before. So a different form of content that hopefully people find that they enjoy, and it's a safe space to discuss matters where you don't have to worry about being shadow banned or have your comments deleted. And today's discussion, it's going to be my personal opinion on what's going to happen to the energy grid, rate hikes, and of course, how this all relates to solar. So let's start off with talking about the 20 kilowatt elephant in the room. The solar tax credits are going to go away soon. And as a matter of fact, 3 months is soon. That 30% tax credit you can apply to help offset a large portion of the cost of installing solar is going away. It helps people afford it easier, but even for the people who can afford it, it means they can spend less and get a faster return on their investment. So in general, it makes it safer as a form of investment. So for example, this DIY system, it has a 3 to 5 year return on investment because I sourced it myself. There was no labor, no inflated cost. But the big whole home system, I have to pay someone to do the engineering and the labor. So with all that, even in a fair price, it was more than we could pay in cash, and we had to finance it. So I worked it out that the cost of financing it was actually cheaper than my electric bill. But if I paid the financing over the entire term, we really don't save money because of the interest. We'll just break even. So to truly save money, I got to pay the financing off early, and that 30% tax credit is going to be a huge upfront payment to make it a safer bet that I can actually save money with my solar investment. So what exactly will happen in 2026 when the credit goes away? You know, I can't say for sure because I'm not in the solar industry, but I expect many smaller businesses are going to disappear, and the larger companies can survive because they have other ways to make money than just installs. From the consumer perspective, I expect new solar installs to pretty much crawl to a halt. And then over a period of time, as things change, I'll just call that the change. So what I think the change is going to look like is this. The number one fastest growing form of electrical supply right now is solar. Our demands on the grid are growing faster than ever. And the only thing that was scaling quick enough to help control the new demand and actually help hide that growth was solar. So if we take away solar, suddenly the grid demand is going to surpass the supply very quickly. And then, as a result, we will have electric rates start to go crazy high, crazy fast. So the cause and effect relationship started with the tax credit, spread into the supply and demand, and now it's going to result in higher rates. And actually, the higher rates are just the cause for the next evolution of the change, where I expect people to suddenly see rates so high that solar suddenly makes sense again. So think about this. If you're paying $400 a month for electric, and then you can work out solar to cover your power needs for $300 a month, then even without the tax credit, solar suddenly makes sense again. So I kind of feel like that's how things are going to naturally happen. Maybe that will be a good thing at first because the larger companies that are well established should still be around, but maybe some of the smaller, less trustworthy companies will have vanished. So far, I only mentioned the things in direct cause-effect relationship between solar and the grid, but I have one more really big monkey wrench to throw out there, and that adds a lot of weight to my hypothesis. AI, aka artificial intelligence, is easily the fastest growing technology right now. Massive amounts of money are trading hands to build computers and data centers for it. Entire industries like the high-end gaming PC community have been suffering and been affected due to AI because companies like NVIDIA would rather make AI chips for a lot more money than, say, consumer graphics cards. And AI is trumping everything. So not only is it a ton of money, But AI data centers use way more power than a normal data center. Enough that the AI boom is going to easily cause grid challenges for anywhere that a big AI data center is stood up, unless they happen to be lucky enough to find a place to build that has a surplus of grid power, and I'm really not sure that we have any. So in the past, it was likely to help manage cost and infrastructure demands by having this stuff hosted overseas. But now with our current economic situation, it seems we're trying to avoid sending data overseas as much as possible, and we're trying to in-house as much as possible as far as technology and hosting. So that means the cost to the American grid system will be greater than ever. So if you take the pre-existing solar decline, which was the fastest growing means for energy production, and now you add in the largest change to energy consumption in the last several decades, I anticipate that in the next 2 to 4 years, we're going to really see some big changes when it comes to electric cost and demand and supply. And I don't mean the regular inflation or cost of living that we're already familiar with. I mean the extras that are going to be coming in because of all these changes from AI and how we're not outsourcing things. So what it boils down to is this. If you have the means to acquire solar now, it's probably going to be in your best interest, but be careful. I designed my own system and found someone to help me install it to code, so in my specific situation, there was nothing really being sold to me, and I knew I was getting everything pretty much at a fair relative cost. But right now with the solar incentives soon to end, I bet there's going to be a lot of jobs out there, and it might be really hard to find a trustworthy person to do the install. I think you're personally better off not going with someone you don't trust, especially because in 6 months or so, they might not even be around anymore to support the system if it has issues. So for anyone that has the means, I suggest you subscribe to technology channels like mine and the DIY solar forums, etc., so you can learn a lot about this stuff and be your own source of knowledge. All I'm really saying is be careful. I mean, personally, I've been fighting the last 2 months against a contractor for my air conditioning install, and it's drained nearly all the life out of me and has been so stressful, and the fight still isn't over yet. So if you're not ready to sign up and learn solar, etc., you can at least have the awareness and see all these changes coming, and perhaps you can find other ways to soften the blow, such as finding a way to make your home more energy efficient. For me, changing our hot water heater was an example. It made a huge difference in our power usage. And over the next few months, I'm also planning on getting spray foam insulation done, which should help our heating and cooling cost, and that's our largest expense. So solar is not the only way that you can combat the issue, but it's great if you can, and of course it works hand in hand with all your other energy saving efforts that you make. This entire channel is based on teaching and ensuring my viewers are well informed. So hopefully this little discussion can spark thought and interest in you, the viewer, and I look forward to hearing what you think in the comments down below. So let's see what the future will bring, and I just want to remind everyone once again, this was Patrick from Vicious Computers, and I'll see you next time.